Okay, good afternoon everyone. You welcome back to Dbms. Okay, PC206. Okay, that's your module code. And today I would like to sum up your entire module, starting with the assignment. Now I put the assignment on the screen. You will see it now. Okay, your assignment actually asks you to analyze a given situation, a business, and model that business on the computer using MySQL Workbench. Okay, currently the business is making business on paper. We analyzed those papers, investigated them, and turned them into a database solution for the charity. Okay, now I ask you, the format will be, I'm just going to sort of highlight it here so you can see it. The format will be a report and a demonstration. What that means is you do not have to give me a PowerPoint. You're going to upload a report of your work to the Turnitin when the portal, before the portal closes. In fact, you guys, this class, will have the afternoon because the portal will close on the 14th of April. That's a Monday midnight. So you will do your presentation, but in that case, I must see a copy of your report. Okay, so if you said to me, I'm going to do my presentation, but I have no copy of the report, I will not give you your mark. I must see that report during the presentation. Now, I've already mentioned, I said, please, let me just turn that off. I said, please book yourselves a session with me. Most of you responded really well. Okay, I have your ID numbers. I will really discourage you, strongly discourage you to ask for a laptop here from the university, because that will actually put you in a disadvantage. Why? I will give you the server, the environment with a VM server and MySQL, but then you will have to find your way around a new laptop, which might be really difficult for you. Okay? So make sure, if you can, bring your own laptop. I can help you to configure it, just now we've done, okay, and you come and present your work with that laptop, that you are the administrator and you know exactly what environment that you are working in. Okay, any questions regarding your laptops? And can you please, I'm just recording the session. Is the class here? You can't. It's a lesson. It's okay. Oh, you were here? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, because it's distracting me. So any questions up to here about your laptops? Okay, I can provide you with a laptop, but again, it will put you in a disadvantage. Okay, so what do we need to do? By the end of, before the session starts, you need to give me a report. In your reports, I asked you, if I scroll down, I asked you to give me a report in this structure. It will have 2 students' ID number in the cover page, and a cover page tool will be used. This is a standard Microsoft Word report format. Please follow it. A table of contents will list everything that you've done, and when I say the findings and analysis, I would like you to copy all the development stages here and turn them into headings. That will be your topics, and address them one by one in your assignment. Okay? So any questions up to here? Good. So that is your Word document. Yes? You will copy this, what's on the screen, into the main part and then answer, or just copy and paste your development into your report. Explaining each... Yes, that's where it's going. Okay, and then what you need to take care of is this section here, the report format. I've already given you a template for the format, and if the format has a cover page and it is quite neat to read with all the correct good characteristics of a technical report. What does that mean? It will have page numbers, it will have a header, a footer, it will have the structure that I gave you, and the contents page, for example, will be automated. You will then get your 15 marks from the structure of the report. You will be assigned another 15 marks for the presentation. This will mean, again, 15 marks. Your own laptop will put you in an advantage, but I need you to worry about how you project your solution onto my screen. So you might bring a VGA cable. I have one here, but if your laptop doesn't take a VGA cable and it requires a mini HDMI, please make sure that you take care of that before your presentation. This might mean you do a trial next week before the real presentation. Okay, so that's the 15%. Now going back to everything else comes from the development section. Okay, what is it that we need to do? I am going up here. Okay, the first thing we said, for 5 marks, identify the entities, the attributes, relationships, and the identifiers. These came from the charity documentation, if you remember. And those documentation, I gave it to you a while ago. It's on here. It was a PDF document, okay? But also, I've uploaded onto the Blackboard, and it is on additional support. And if you scroll down, actually no, it is on assignment section, okay? And it's on charity documentation. Please make sure your solution follows that. Most of you, I know that you have already developed the solution from those papers. Now the next step was, once you identified, I said, let's go back to our assignment. It's here. The next step was entity, tables, and normalizations. You have identified all your entities for the charity, such as sessions, the counselors, the staff, but it was all a collection of entities with attributes. Next step was put them in their tables, separate them into appropriate tables, and normalize them. That meant you don't repeat the data, okay? You make sure that there are no functional dependencies between different entities, where in each table we said you must make sure one identifier key is present. If you have forgotten that, the documentation is in here. Please go back and check. It is on the additional support, okay, and it's down here where I put down as normalization. I don't want to download this, but it takes you step by step where my mouse is right now with an example. How to do normalization. It's a different example, but you will apply that example into our solution. Okay? Our example is the charity. Three normal forms. Yeah, that's right. You say first normal form, give me a definition of the first normal form, and then go to second normal form, give me a definition of the second normal form, and you say this is what we have produced in our group. Okay? And finally, I said make sure, that's the next section of your work here, it is here, ER diagrams in UML notation. I ask you, please use star UML, okay? And make sure everything you identify above, use the computer software package to draw it on your computer system, or on your computers, okay? In UML notation. And that is straightforward. I haven't got a copy of that. Then what you do after this step, okay, after this step, guys, this is the critical bit now. I am going on to creating required number of tables and populating those tables. But before I could go to next step, I need a server running on my computer, okay? And that is quite critical. I have a VAMP server set up. I'm going to show you that, but that's not the only way. There are other server arrangements that you can download, but I will just demonstrate with the VAMP server. So this is what you need to do. Go on the internet, okay? Go on the internet, type VAMP server download. Okay, probably it's telling me that's there. And then download the right type of VAMP server for your machine. Most likely your machine will be a 32-bit laptop, but if you happen to have a 64-bit laptop, please download the right version of the VAMP server. And where do I go? I need to download it here where it says download, and then choose, my machine is actually 64-bit, but this operating system is 32, so I am having to run 32-bit version of the software. So make sure you know which version you need to download. It's very specific to your own laptop. After you download it and run the program, you are going to find, okay, there will be an icon on your desktop, just like the one I'm pointing right now. Now, that icon won't automatically be installed. You have to select, put a shortcut on my desktop when you're installing the WAMP server. Then it will come on when you double click on it. My one is already running. Okay, here you know the server, it says, is offline. This means it's not on the internet. This doesn't mean it's not running. The server is running because it is in green. Okay, how do I test it? I need to go onto my development environment. That will be a browser, an internet browser, and this is the one I'm using. Okay, I will type local host. Now you'll find if my server wasn't running, I wouldn't get this screen. Okay, so that's the way to test it. Now the next step, guys, is actually I'm done on this view, but if you want to check the databases, if you just installed it, you won't have any databases on that, but I can check it by going to phpMyAdmin, and then it's going to show me all the databases that I've got on my computer. But for this project, I do not want you to use this view. I'd like you to use MySQL Workbench Community Edition 6.0, because it helps us a lot with every step of the development. How does that work? Now my server is running. I've checked it both online here, and I can see it's green. Then my server is running. It's time to go on to this environment here. But I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to close everything now. Okay, close this one. Okay, that's the Oracle one. Here we are. Now I will run it. It will have a shortcut here, MySQL Workbench CE. Once it loads up to your screen, okay, you will find at the bottom here, you are going to have only one model. You will have Sakila full model. But the rest of the models I was developing personally myself. So what I am going to do is this. Now let's say I was experimenting with a moment ago, okay, and that is PSG model, same as this model, okay, but I wanted to show you it all from the beginning. Therefore I've created a new one. For me to work with this model, okay, right now you will see tables and ER diagram here, okay. Let's go on to it quickly. Okay, here we are, my ER diagram. This is familiar to you because it comes from UML notation that you have actually already drawn on star UML. It is very convenient way of developing SQL solutions in MySQL here. Now, this model then will forward engineer itself into an implementation of the database. So I'm going to slow down here for a moment, okay? What I like to do, because I was testing this before the lesson, I'm going to delete the database from the server, okay? For that, I have to go onto the server, okay? Like, let's say I could connect to the database now because WAMP server is running, okay? And I have new connection, or in fact, test will work absolutely fine. And here, I will notice I have all them databases on the left-hand side. They are schemas. Now, I would like to drop this schema here. My DB PSG class demo. Assume that that schema hasn't been created, because inside it right now I have all them tables as well, and those are the required tables for your project. I'm going to drop it, okay? Here we are. If I said drop schema, okay, it will say drop now. My schema has been dropped from the database. Okay, now I will close the test connection, go back to this, and start from scratch where you would have been. I'm repeating last week again. So what is it that we need to do? Close my diagram, okay? When you actually open up, when you click on this button here, okay, that one at the top, okay, add new schema, I will be starting with that. I'm not going to, because that means I have to delete all my tables. Add new schema, and then give the schema a name. a unique name. For example, PSG, my project, I called my one, my DB PSG class demo. Okay. Now, new project, yeah, you can call it new project. You click on here, okay, and then give it a name. It asks you for a name, okay. Right down here, you can actually change its name if you clicked on it, okay. Now, I don't want to open a new one. Close this one. Delete new schema. I was here. When I want to add my tables onto it, okay, I go add table, just there, double click, okay. Now it says table name. Logically, in your case, I'm not going to create a new one now. You should be creating all the tables, paying attention to the relationships that you have already accounted for. What do I mean by that? The main areas that you should be focusing on is primary keys and foreign keys. If you look at our schema, I gave you something on the blackboard. Please do make sure that you are familiar with this one here. This is from my Access project, but it is quite similar to the solution that I want you to solve. In fact, I like you to break this down further. For example, what can you do in this one? Could you not actually take the GP information, look at the assessment form, I've got GP and address here. Isn't it possible to have a GP who's actually looking after more than one person? Obviously. So I could take it out. You know how to normalize your tables. And that's what we mean by your normalization steps. So this one is just a guide. It's not the ultimate solution for your work. Okay? In your demonstration, I like to see how much work you put in. Now, moving back onto my design in my SQL workbench, I am trying to demonstrate these tables. I go back to it. Let's open one up. Instead of creating a new table, I don't want that table. Okay, delete it. Okay, I click and delete it. Delete table 1, obviously. Now, let's open the parent table. The kind of fields that I expect to see on the parent table is actually in front of me. You can see on the screen. And if you were creating this from scratch, you've done it last week, parent table, and then you will assign an ID for the parent, then you will write down the rest of the attributes for that table. Making sure the data types are appropriate. Please do have a look. Now I'm going to click here, okay, just to show you. We have quite a long range of data types. Not all will be used, but you need to know what a varchar is. You need to know what a text is, or long text, or a medium text is, because our solution requires us to take long notes. A counselor needs to take a note. You don't know how much they need to write. So you need to allocate appropriate amounts of space to store that data. Okay? Any questions up to here? No. Okay, crystal clear, I hope. Now, with this technique, paying attention to my keys, I am creating my tables. Now, this table had only one key in it. This table has what kind of key in it? Primary key, absolutely. And because that's ticked, look, PK. And not null and N. That can't be blank because we already know primary key can't be blank anyway. And then the last one is auto increment. Those are the 3 values that you're going to check most likely. In the second part, I'm going to show you something else. Here, for example, let's go to a service or a profile, okay, or assessment. Let's go to assessment. Here, where is my primary key? Assessment ID, perfect. But can you also see other keys in this? What? Tell me. Staff ID, parent ID, and GP ID are actually foreign keys. All I have to do with that one, because they are keys that comes from other tables, I must set them to integer. If you left it as varchar, your database will throw an error. Okay? So they are foreign keys. In fact, I could even enforce here not null values, but I want you to leave your database flexible in this stage at a time. Later on, I don't want you to have a problem inserting data into it. Okay? So, now moving on from this, you're going to say, you know what? Create a model. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the top, ER diagram. Because I've created one early on, I have this option, but you will have a blank. It says add a new ER diagram. Okay, here we are. Now, all you have to do, you just drag your tables from the side, put them onto the view. I'm not going to do it, okay? And then the last thing I must do now is I must make sure that I connect my foreign keys and primary keys. And that you use this tool right at the bottom here. I'm going to delete one of them just to demonstrate it, okay? So you don't get this bit confused. It's very important you get this right. How do you do it? I am going to, let's find a table here. Let's say escape. Okay, I don't want to click on that. I want to delete this link here. Notice, what's the primary key there? Or in what table we have a primary key? Service ID, because it's got a key symbol right next to it. And then I have a service ID is a foreign key in the session log. You can see that, right? You identify that from your normalizations, the tables. That's done quite a few weeks back. Okay? You decide that, you're the designer. Okay? Now, I'm going to delete this one. Let me delete that link, but this will then delete, okay, just delete it. This will then delete those unique keys as well. It didn't delete the service ID because service ID is also linked in other places, but it did delete it from here. I need to add that onto that table as a foreign key. And I'm just going to say, okay, add edit service log. Okay, here we are. I need to add a new, and that was, what was it? Service ID, wasn't it? Service ID. It can be the same name, but notice it's not a varchar. It's an integer. Why? It's a, because it is a foreign key that links itself from the services. Now I've done with that. I'm going to push this up to the top, okay, by clicking on it, okay, and then I'll say move up, okay, up, and it is going to be right under the session log ID, meaning that's my foreign key, but still it hasn't been defined. What do I need to do? I need to close this view, okay, it's saved hopefully, and yes, service ID log is there. How do I link it to the other table? I need to click on this one too many. Select, it says here, select your foreign key. My foreign key is this field here. I've just created it. And then I need to click back on, I wish I could remove that, I can't, but I need to click back on service ID behind it. It's a bit transparent, you can see that. Click on that. Has it done it? Come on, yes, now it's done it. You can see I've got the same link. Now, this is honestly, it's really made the job a lot easier for you. The next step is forward engineer what you have designed. Make sure you don't have any mistakes in your ER diagram. Make sure you understand the foreign key and the primary key. Go over your design again. And all I have to do, again, make sure that one server is running. I'm going to go to database now. You know what? Forward engineer. Remember what I did early on. I dropped the schema. The reason I dropped it, because if this schema didn't exist, okay, it's going to say to you, I can't create this. And let's have a quick look, okay, what will happen. I might get an error here, okay. Say next. Here, it's going to create 9 objects. Nine of them are selected. Let's have a look at it. This is your code. Please copy the code for your assignment. I like to see a copy of it. You give me in your write-up in the SQL development that would be going under this section here. Okay, and it would be going under here, isn't it? And you might choose to make a new title for it to say creating the schema and the tables in SQL. Then you go back, okay, then you go back here, you say next. But you know what? Oh, I have an error. What is going on? What's happened? Can anyone tell me? Okay, if I scroll up, you're going to see, actually, right down here, guess what? It says this schema doesn't exist. That's why it doesn't know where to put it. Now, what I need to do, I need to go and create the schema. I could do that in many ways, but I'm just going to copy the name first. This was the schema, wasn't it? copy that name. Hopefully I got it all the way that it should be. Cancel this, and then I am going to go on to my database. This time I'm not forward engineering. I'm just going into the database. Okay? I could access it from another way. What was the other way? WAM server, local host. I can go to my PHP admin. But I will do it this way. Okay? Say okay. Here you are. And now I could actually here create a schema. Okay, just create one. Maybe we'll create it in the WAM server. It's just not allowing me. Refresh all. Okay, create the schema. Now, I've just done it 5 seconds ago. Oh, here. Create schema in the connected server. Absolutely. Okay, now the schema name, that's quite important. Paste it in here. Okay, my db rename, and then apply. This is the schema that I'm trying to model, right? I need to have its name. Apply it. Hopefully, it's going to create it. It's generated the SQL code for you. Apply. And guess what? It's actually now here, class demo. You can see that. I need to now come off of this view, go back to my design. Hopefully, it won't let me down. I'm just going to close this view. Oh, my computer is now a little bit struggling. Okay, here we are. I'm going to say forward engineer my design. And select next. Make sure your schema is open at this point in time, the one that you were working on. Next. Here, okay, I will copy this for my assignment. Next. Hopefully, no errors this time. You see that. Guys, I don't want you to have any problems with this one. Very straightforward. You see that? Yeah? If it works for me, it's going to work for you. Now, I'm going to say, close this one. Now, what I expect to see here is, okay, connect back to the database again. What I expect to see, the same database on here. And if you check, okay, tables have no data inside it at the moment. All I have, what I created on ER diagram. How do I quickly add data onto this? I'm just going to show you very quickly, because I've done my homework. Okay, I populated all my tables. Okay, so I can show you what I will ask you in your presentation. Now, in this table we have no data, so I will start adding data with my permanent tables. What are they? They are the staff, the parents, children, okay? But you must add children after the parents, because the foreign key dependency will force you to, like, you can't add children without their parents. You must follow the logical steps, guys. Okay, so start with the parent and the staff, then build it up slowly. How do I do this quickly? I am going to go on to, for example, select, okay, star from staff, okay, and I will run this. Okay, there is nothing. You can see it's null, 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 null all the way. But I am going to export the view. And when I click on this one, it's going to give me a CSV, okay, Excel document. And I've already done this. Look, you can see PSG test data. I've actually populated them. I don't want to change my what I've done there. Okay, I'm not going to export it, but I'm going to open one document for you. Now, cancel this one. I put it in a folder of its own, isn't it? PSG test data. And let me find it. This place is getting very confusing. Right, staff. What did I do there? Open the staff. Okay, I didn't touch the top row. In fact, I can if I wanted to. But here, okay, I have ID, position, first name, last name, house number, address, postcode, email. Where did this come from? It came from the internet. I've just made it up. If you can't do anything, this is what I expect to see, guys. Let's say close this one. Okay, open the other one. Open this one, assessment, for example. I've made it up. What is that? It's actually coming from a text generator, Ipsum Lorem website, and it actually says here, previous counseling assessment. So I didn't leave it blank. What am I trying to do there? What am I doing? I'm testing my database, the data types, that it could accommodate a long piece of writing. Okay, so I've done it the same for the medical, but when I see a yes or no area, for example here, I use yes or no. Okay, now moving back, how do I work very quickly? Guys, the feature in Excel, this feature is wonderful. Now look, let's assume that there is no data and you just copied that. Okay, what you do, you click on it, make sure you know how to autofill. You see that, right? Quickly, I've added data. One other exception here, please, 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 do not forget your foreign keys. Foreign keys must exist. In other words, staff ID, if you haven't actually put a staff with a staff ID 19, you can't add it in here. Same for the parent. Is that understood? So I then, when I do that, when I finish with this, I save it. Okay? And it's sitting in a folder, right? I save it, I'm going to close it. But I won't save mine because I've already had data. I don't want to change it. I go back to my SQL workbench. Here, I am going to say, I want to now, this time, import records into my database. There is one problem, okay? One problem that I want to show you here. Let's say, where was it? It's PSG. Have I passed it? Oh, I'm not on the desktop here. My eye's starting to go funny. I apologize for that. I think it's too much screen. Here we are, test data. Let's try to put, but it has to be the right one. I am on, what was this staff? Was it staff? Yeah. Okay, let's do staff, but guess what? I want to change the staff a little bit before I do this so I can demonstrate to you what's going wrong. If you go back onto the desktop here, PSG test data, open the staff, okay. I am going to save this as staff2. The file save as, where's my save? Yeah. I am adding data into the tables, guys. Okay? Yes, yeah. Notice I have already 29 staff. I need to start with the number 30. But what I'll do, I'm going to take this for demonstration. Let's take those three. Control X, okay, and then put it right here, Control V, and then delete the rest of it. Okay, my computer is slowing down now. Delete the rest of it. And then what I need to do, I need to start from 30, right? 30, autofill. Here we are. And support. I could have the same names, it doesn't matter for demonstration. But I want you to focus on what happens when you import it. Now save this, okay, yes, and go back to my SQL. Here, I want the staff 1, okay. Okay, it should be now working. You could see, right now there isn't a problem there, is there? But I want you to pay attention. There is one problem that I can see. What is the problem? Can you pay attention to this, please? If I commit this transaction, look, apply. It created the insert SQL command, okay? Otherwise you would be typing this by hand. And then I am going to apply, but there will be one problem here. This is why I wanted you to anticipate. What happened? It's actually brought the first row, the column, field names. You don't need that. Look, cancel this. I know these problems you're going to come across. That's why I'm warning you now. That has to be removed. Now it's correct. But I still might have a problem. I've got a feeling in here. This is actually went back to 1, 2, 3 again. No, I didn't import. Is it the first one? Okay, I see. So if I now said commit, let me commit it. Apply. Oh yes, it's done. Let's check. We walk all the way down, and in fact here, oh, it's created extra people. Let me just delete them because, okay, here we are. Delete rows. I'm looking for the staff ID 32. No, it hasn't added them on. You have to pay attention to that first top row. Okay. If you're having an error, that's because you've got the field ID names. Is that clear up to here? Do I have to try to fix this? Because while I'm talking, it's quite difficult to attend to that. But we'll come round and have a look at your work. Now, I almost finished the fourth part of my assignment. What is that part? This part is, where is my spreadsheet, Excel, Word document here. I've now created the required number of relations, the tables, and populated my database because there is data in it. Now, the next part. This part is quite difficult. I am going to require your attention. This, you're going to give me 5 different SQL queries from the database that you created. Okay? I'm going to write it in there so you don't forget. Now, okay? 5, okay? SQL, okay, query. What does that mean? You're going to use, just like that we've done before, for this, I will switch databases in MySQL, okay? I am going to go back to this database, where is that one? MySQL, this is it, yeah? Just click on that, okay, this one, okay? Now, if I now say select from staff, let me just go back and run this command again. Okay, I have 33 rows, guys. Some of them are empty. My last import wasn't successful. Now, the type of thing that I want to see in your assignment is 5 queries, I said. You're going to give me a definition. You'll say, this query, okay, right here, let's say here, right in there, this query, okay, returns the parents. Now, this is a very simple query. And what do you do for that? You're going to write here, instead of staff, parents. And make sure it helps you. You could actually close with a semicolon. You don't have to. It accepts it without it. And I will run. Now I've got the parents. But this will not get you 25 marks. This is this is not even scratching the surface. What it says, you must be able to use join operators, more than one table, and it must use an aggregate function. Now, let's think what we can do. I'm going to give you very simple examples, but I can't broadcast the solutions on the internet because that won't be a proper assessment. But I'm telling you what I'll be asking you. Let's say, okay, let's have a look at this code just briefly. Okay, I was writing this early on. I said to myself, what would be a good search? For example, here, I run a search. Okay, I'm going to copy this, Control copy, and put it on MySQL here. Control V. Now, this will be searching for, let's have a look. Actually, you know what it did just now? Can someone tell me what that code is searching? It is actually searching, renaming the parents' names to parents N name, counselors' names to counsel N, because it says as parent N and as counselor. Then it says go and look for the services they signed up to and return from those services the desired outcomes they're expecting from their counseling sessions. By doing so, I am connecting to 3 different tables and filtering out the unnecessary fields. If I do not use the join here on parent ID and service.parentID, I will be ending up with a Cartesian multiplication. Therefore, you know this from W3 schools. We're going to look at it. You're going to end up with repeating records. That's not what we want. The other example, okay, I'm just going to show you them. It won't work in your database. Probably your fields will be different, but it's just an example. Now, the other example is how do we use aggregates? What was aggregates? Let me just go back to here. Okay, the aggregate will be, if you actually scroll down, guys, here we have our aggregates: average, count, group by, min, max. So for this assignment, an aggregate will be, I said, you know what, we do this. Go back here. I said select. Okay, what am I doing with this one? This is a very simple one. Again, it's not going to get you a very high mark because Very simple query, but what does that do? It counts the number of parents who's actually enrolled we're giving service to. I'm counting parent IDs. Okay? If I run it, how many parents have I got? In my case, I have 19. And that's what I'm getting. Now, that's an aggregate function. That's a very simple one. Let me run another. Now, if I was to go back to my assignment, my write-up here, this one, it's going to count, but, copy that, it's going to count, Control V, this time it's counting, actually, the parents' children, but it's grouping by parent. So I'll be seeing the number of parents, okay, the number of children by their parents. Let's run the query. You will find, here we are, guess what? Now, because I used first name one, name, they weren't real names. But if that was John, this is Tom, this is Susan, we will see John had two children, Tom had 3, Susan had 5, so on and so forth. Now, I would like to see this level of query for higher marks. So you're required to give me 5 queries. You're allowed to give me 2 simple ones, but the other 3 must be more than one table, looking for at least one aggregate function and a join operator. Any questions on your assignment? No? You think you can do it? I will help you. Okay, I'm here during your lecture time. I will broadcast this onto the internet. I like you to put the hard work in now. I know you need to. And next week, make sure you have booked a session with me. Make sure, ideally, bring a laptop. Last case, if you can't, I will give you one. But I told you, it will put you on a slightly disadvantage because, I mean, there's nothing I can do. It's a strange laptop to you. It will be. Okay, and finally, the work must be uploaded to Turnitin, and it will be in the report structure like this one shown on the screen. One last thing, if you guys are anyone resitting this module, you do not have to do the demonstration, it's just the report. Okay, so I wanted to make that clear. Any other questions? Perfect. Well, let's get to work. Press on.